Negotiations continue between the UAW and the big three automakers as the two sides try to hammer out a new contract before their current deal expires next month. The union has announced its list of demands to General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis, saying they are the most audacious demands in decades. The union says record profits from the automakers should mean record contracts for workers. UAW wants to get rid of the tiers on wages and benefits. They want better pay for all employees. Negotiators are also asking to restore the cost of living allowance and a defined pension for members. UAW President Shawn Fain says the companies have made billions of dollars this year, and union members should get their fair share.
It's not enough to just survive. We should all have a right to thrive. I believe all of us have a right to look back on our life and not regret spending so much of our time making hundreds of billions of dollars for greedy companies rather than spending time with our family and friends. Ultimately, that's what this contract's all about. It's about securing a higher quality of life for the working class.
The current contract expires September 14th. Fain has warned they are prepared to strike. Industry experts believe a strike is likely. Well, joining us now for more on the latest on these negotiations, Jamie Butters, the executive director of Automotive News. So, Jamie, what is the latest tonight? We appreciate you joining us.
Well, you just summed it up very well. The latest really is the Facebook Live that Shawn Fain had last night. I guess there's one more thing. Stellantis did respond with a statement acknowledging that they're not looking for concessions in these negotiations, which is unusual by historical standards. I mean, the 25 years I've been covering the auto industry, pretty much every 3 or 4 years, the automakers are saying we need some concessions. We need a chance to return to profitability. Well, they're plenty profitable, and they said that they weren't too surprised overall by the priorities of Shawn Fain. They've been very consistent in what he's wanted, although there have been a lot of things added on recently. As you mentioned, not only the defined pensions, but he talked a little last night about a 32-hour work week. He's talked about effectively bringing back what used to be called the jobs bank. So there will be plenty of things for the automakers to say no to that perhaps can get them to say yes to some other things.
Fain and UAW has talked about these record profits for the automakers. Is it realistic for the workers to now see a record new contract?
Yes, more or less it is. I mean, what's unusual, and we all know this, and Shawn Fain knows it too. I mean, the auto industry has been through a really unusual time, during the pandemic. It has been challenging, but it has been just incredibly profitable for automakers and for auto dealers, not really for suppliers. But the scarcity of vehicles, along with the fact that a lot of consumers had cash to spend, didn't have a lot of other ways to spend it. Demand for vehicles was very high. Supply was pretty low. Prices went to record highs. People were paying above MSRP, above the sticker price. It used to be, automakers like GM and Ford would have to put $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 into a deal just so the dealer could sell it. So the profitability has been really huge, and it's still huge this year. Over the medium term, it's not going to stay like this. This is not a forever shift change in the profitability of the industry, but he's negotiating right now with companies that have been making a lot of money, and he wants to ask for all that he can.
We're about 6 weeks away from this deadline, essentially, the current contract expiring. Do you get a sense, Jamie, just how close they are, how far apart they are? Are they worlds apart? Where do things stand?
Yeah, they're at least continents apart at this point because they're just starting out. And so really both sides are staking out, the most extreme positions that they can. I mean, even though, the automakers are trying to be they're not looking for fight. They're not trying to use fighting words, but they're looking. I mean, you hear Carlos Tavares talking about the need to make a $25,000 EV. I mean, they don't even sell a $25,000 Fiat, in this country. So that's not really realistic, but he's trying to make a point about the cost savings they need to find overall. At the same time, Shawn Fain's trying to make a point about all that auto workers feel they deserve. they're not going to get it all. And then the big question is, can you get members to, vote for what they can get? And that will be the next big test after finding a tentative agreement with whichever company is first, probably Stellantis, but we'll see.
We've heard Fain talk about how they are prepared to go on strike if necessary. The UAW has gone on strike before against GM and John Deere in recent years, but never the three major automakers all at once. If it goes toward a strike, and they do indeed get into a strike situation, how deep would the shockwaves be to the U.S. economy if they went on strike?
Well, I know he's talked about the possibility of striking all three at once. Anything is possible. That would be very expensive. It would cost them a lot every single week that people are out and getting strike pay. And it would wreak a lot of havoc on the U.S. economy. More likely, it would be one company at a time. It could be a longer strike. The GM strike 4 years ago was 40 days. That did hurt GM, and they got a little more out of it. I mean, Stellantis has been so profitable, record profits in most recent periods. They might want to hold out for a long time, and they would be able to hold out a lot longer if they're only striking one company. And in that case, it would be bad for that company. It might be hard for those workers, certainly the suppliers to that company, but the rest of the economy will probably do just fine. It will be other brands taking that market share, selling the vehicles that that company is not making and selling.
And we are running out of time. So one quick thing for you, yes or no, do you believe they will go on strike?
It seems very likely. Yes, yes, probably almost certainly one strike, possibly two.
All right. Jamie Butters, Executive Director of Automotive News. We appreciate you joining us tonight for the Insight here on CBS News Detroit.